All right, here we are back again for the final 2 talks, because expect the unexpected. With Bitcoin, we have another change of schedule. Roy Seinfeld is not gonna talk after this next speaker. So now we have Matteo. I will introduce him in a second. And then after, we're gonna have Pavel next. And that will be all for today. Let's start with the next topic. I love this topic. How to onboard merchants. We all live orange peeling merchants. We want Bitcoin to be successful. We want it to be a medium of exchange as well, not only a store of value. That's why we all do our all orange peeling work day after day. Relentlessly, but the next talk is going to be on a very interesting topic, not how onboard merchants, but how to incentivize onboarding with merchants. Please welcome on stage, he's already on stage as you can tell, Matteo Pellegrini.
Grazie, thank you. Guys working? Hi, I'm Matteo Pellegrini, founder of Orange PlanB. Orange PlanB is a Bitcoin-only social network that lets you find local Bitcoiners, events, and now merchants too. So for the last 2 months, we launched this new product that's called Merchants. Basically, we allow merchants to create an account on the app. They have to get a membership because all we do is behind the paywall for a reason that we'll explain later. And so they have their own profile, and they can find local Bitcoiners to buy their products. So I've been talking with merchants now for the last 2 months, and trying to understand, why they adopted Bitcoin as a technology. And so this is the 10 reasons they have told me why they have adopted Bitcoin in their operational business. So number 1 is more freedom. So if you think about who start a small business, it's usually people that are freedom-loving. They don't want to have a boss. They don't want to hear tomorrow's at 9 a.m. and you run your own show. So merchants are naturally more freedom-loving people than the average population, I would say. And obviously, Bitcoin is freedom tech. So, there's completely outside of the government and banks. There are no limits, there are no borders, there are no hours of operation. So I think the first point is to meet them where they are. So it's all about more freedom. Number 2, this is the obvious one, but it's lower fees. On average, credit card, they take between 1.5% to 3.5% of each transaction. And that's actually a really big problem. It's not a problem. That's actually a really big incentive for merchants to find a solution, an alternative payment method. So $160 billion in 2022 were paid in merchant credit cards, which, by the way, is going up. So in 2009, it was 1/3. So this burden on the business keep going up because obviously there's more regulation, there's more government intervention to the credit cards, which then they have to charge more the merchants. Latin network payments, it's usually less than 1 penny or 99% cheaper than credit card transaction. So as a merchant, if you're saving 3% on each transaction, you can pass this saving to the final customer, which makes your business more attractive and more sustainable. The other incentive they told me is more customers. So the number of Bitcoiners, it's hard to tell what's the real growth rate, but if you look at the address with at least 10 million Satoshi, it's going at 14% CAGR for the last 10 years. So on average, every year there's 14% more Bitcoiners than the year before. But more importantly, their purchasing power is going up even more. As we all know, Bitcoin goes up quite a lot. So in the last 10 years, Bitcoin have gone up 29% CAGR. So not only there are more Bitcoiners every year, but their dispendable income is also going up. And that's what we actually do the best at Orange PlanB. So we match the local demand with the local supply. So this is one example from, so in the last 2 months, there is a bookstore in Madeira. I don't know if you guys have been in Madeira for the conference. They translate English-speaking book in all the languages. And somebody was on the island. They found the bookstore, and they bought all the English-speaking book that they have. And so that's pretty cool, right? So you get more customer by accepting Bitcoin. You also get better customers. So one time somebody told me this: a customer on a Bitcoin standard is worth more than one on a fiat standard, which kind of intuitively makes sense to me, but I didn't really understand until one day I was on my computer and I got this email about one of the Orange PlanB members that have bought 2 memberships. The most expensive membership we have is about $200. So this guy bought $400 of membership. I said, how is that even possible? So I called the guy and I said, how did you do it? How did you get 2 memberships? He said, explain why. And I said, okay, look, you already paid the most expensive membership, so thank you first of all. Secondly, I'm going to refund you the other membership that you paid because you only need 1 membership. And the guy said, well, I really like what you're doing. Why don't you just refund me half of it, which is already amazing. This probably doesn't happen in the fiat world. Then after I got the phone, I had another call. And by the time I went back to my computer to process the refund, he had sent me an email, said, you know what, keep all the money. So, and this is when I realized what this means, that a customer on a Bitcoin standard is worth more than one on a fiat standard. If you pay Netflix twice, you're gonna call Netflix and say, give me the money back. You're not gonna say, keep the money. So there is a missionary element to Bitcoin. Number 5, privacy. So we all know about CBDS. This is our lovely European Central Bank. A few months ago, they're working on the CBDCs, which makes sense from a state point of view. The state always wants more power. That's the whole point of a state. And so when we get to the CBDS, in China they're already there, so we can already see what's coming our way. Bitcoin might be the only kind of currency that a merchant will be able to accept to stay in business, or to transact with certain kind of the market. So, one example that you have these carbon credits. So now, actually, I was talking to somebody. They're in Europe. They're already starting to track how many flights you take per year, and then they're going to assign a carbon cost to each flight. And then once the CBDS are out, they're going to say, well, you already polluted this much, so you cannot buy this amount of meat, or you cannot put this amount of gas in your car. Of course, with Bitcoin, we don't have that problem. It's completely outside the system. And so that's a great reason to adopt the Bitcoin standard. Instant settlement. On the fiat rails, it takes between 2 to 4 business days to get your money. So if there is no weekends and if there is no bank holidays. So worst case scenario, you might need to wait 1 week before you can get your money to your bank, which slows down your operation. You cannot reinvest this money into the economy. You cannot hire people. One example, actually, in my world is even worse because I deal with Apple and Google. It's definitely not 2 to 4 business days. So Apple, it's 60 days. They keep the money for 60 days. Google is a little better. It's only 45 days. So now imagine I cannot invest this money for 45 days. I cannot hire more people and all that kind of stuff. So Bitcoin, it's instant settlement. So obviously that solved that problem. Financial sovereignty. We all know the story of the Canadian truck protest. I'm sure you remember this. I have a personal story on this subject. 15 years ago, I had a ship in e-commerce. I didn't know about Bitcoin. I think Bitcoin didn't even exist back then. I was running the entirety of my business with PayPal. And at some point, for whatever reason, they completely froze my account. I couldn't access my account. And I basically had to threaten them that I would fly to Dublin to their offices to get my money back, which thankfully they didn't. They gave me the money before I flew, but it went to that point. So Bitcoin, as we all know, cannot be seized, cannot be frozen. It's your money. It's the merchant money. So obviously that enabled the business operation to be more resilient. Number 8, number go up. Bitcoin is the most appreciated asset in the mankind history. On the other hand, fiat is designed to lose purchasing power forever. Now, what's interesting here is that if you look at the charts of Bitcoin, not that you should, but most of the appreciation in the Bitcoin history happens in very few days or very few weeks. Which is why it's very, you cannot really time the market in Bitcoin. So if you plug in your cash flow into Bitcoin, you're bound to capture those days by definition. So every day you get sats into your business, and some of those days are going to double or go up 50%. And that's the only way really to capture that growth of Bitcoin. And so, on the other hand, fiat is depreciating, if you're lucky, 0.5% a month. And so, this is a great incentive for merchants to accept the Bitcoin, right? You're basically jumping on this horse that is going to go up in value. Number 9, free publicity. The Guardian wrote an article about this pub in Britain, first Bitcoin pub to accept Bitcoin. I'm pretty sure no other pub that accepts fiat has been on The Guardian. We all know our friend Peter McCormack. This is the BBC. I watched the video. It was like an hour interview of his football club, which, by the way, is on the 9th tier division in England. And the BBC would know even, I think they probably didn't even know it's listed that league. So by accepting Bitcoin, there is a first mover advantage of being the first restaurant in town or the first football club or the first pub. And that's free, that's free publicity, right? Like how much would that be worth to a business to be on the BBC? Number 10, no chargebacks. In 2023, chargeback amounted for $117 billion. The average chargeback rate is about 1%. So imagine you're running a business and you know one transaction every 100, you're going to lose it. You provided the service or the goods, and the credit card is going to get it back from you. This obviously, decrease the ability of a business to do forecast and all the financial modeling. And so, in Bitcoin, there is no chargeback. Once you get the money, that's your money. Now, before I go ahead, is anybody here from Guardia di Finanza? No? Great. So, bonus reason, no taxes. So, we're all trying to defund the state here. And so, taxes is obviously one of the ways that they stay in business, let's say. Bitcoin it's basically cash. It's up to the merchant to declare how much they've sold, if they can put in Bitcoin or not. In 2023, the average corporate income tax in Europe was, funnily enough, about 21%. So that's 21% that goes into your they reduce your bottom line, right? So you have less 21% cost. So to recap, these are all the reasons why a merchant should should adopt the Bitcoin standard. So more freedom, lower fees, more better customers, privacy, instant settlement, financial sovereignty, number go up, free publicity, no chargeback, and bonus reason, no taxes.
Thank you, Matteo. So, who has questions for Matteo? Don't be shy.
I don't buy it.
No questions,
You
Matteo.
do.
I asked you everything. No, seriously, I think it's good. So we can start sooner the final speech, and it's gonna be even better. So Matteo, thank you very much.
Thank you.
I think I'm gonna steal a couple of your slides. Very good talking points.
I'd love to.
Open source everything, right?
Of course.
So I'm not gonna credit you either.
No,
so.
please don't.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Matteo. Okay, guys, so we have one final speech right now.